Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on October the 15th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of our news here, today was a bank holiday both for Canada and US, and coming up here shortly in the Asian session, we have monetary policy meeting minutes here from Australia. So Australia, excuse me, Reserve Bank of Australia has been bearish or dovish on their monetary policy. So they are looking at doing more or going more towards easing the monetary policy. So as a result of that, every time they've come out, it's usually been dovish. But if nothing has changed beyond that, unless they're really taking any more monetary policy action, then this one may not really do anything. So we just have to pay attention to what the commentary is. If they do anything, if they actually really do anything meaningful, then we can actually see a reaction, especially if the comments that come out are dovish. That will be negative for Australian dollar here. And then other thing we have to pay attention to here will be the CPI number for China. So the CPI number is an inflation number, which is a very important data point that the central banks track, and it shows how the economy is doing. If the CPI number is below expectations here, then we are likely to see a drop in Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar as a result of this CPI number, because they are trade partners with China. Other than that, a couple other things to keep in mind here. One big thing actually would be the Brexit. So we have Brexit deadline coming up soon in a couple of weeks. As a result of that, any comments that come out in regards to Brexit deal are going to have an impact on the markets. So just a little while ago here, we saw that the Brexit deal hopes rise as last minute compromises are made. Now this was sent out by Livesquawk here. So any kind of comments like this that are positive for a Brexit deal would be good for British pound, and we're likely to see a positive reaction in the pound as a result of that. However, if we see comments like this, EU needs more time, then that means that they're not quite there yet. And if we see that and hear any comments that say they're not close to a deal, or there are problems in reaching a deal, they're not able to come to any sort of an agreement, that is likely to be negative for British pound. But do expect volatility for British pound in the upcoming couple of weeks here as we move towards the deadline. And now, a few things that can happen with the Brexit stuff. One is they come to an agreement and sign a Brexit deal, which would be good for British pound. But if they're not able to reach a Brexit deal and there's hard Brexit, then that would be really bad for British pound. We're not likely to see that. Most likely, if they cannot come to an agreement, we're likely to see an extension of the deadline, which is what we've been seeing all this time. So those are some of the scenarios we need to keep in mind. But leading up to that point, we're likely to see a lot of volatility for British pound. So while trading pound, I would be very, very careful. All right, so that's one. And then we also had the trade deal here between US and China. Nothing really has come out of it. Market had high hopes. So there was some sort of a deal that, or agreement, partial agreement, where they are going to push the tariffs back. So there will be no additional tariffs at this point. Now, any comments in regards to the trade deal will also have an impact on the market. So if the deal gets signed, that will be positive for the equity markets. However, if we start to hear comments where they say China needs more time, or US and China are not able to reach an agreement, all of those comments will be negative, and we're likely to see negative impact on equity markets, but positive impact on Japanese yen and Swiss franc. So both of these are the things that we have to keep in mind here. So yen crosses, Swiss franc crosses, as well as pound crosses are likely to be volatile in the coming week here. So just be aware of that. And coming up on Tuesday here, we have Bank of England, Governor Carney speaking. We haven't really seen a huge impact as a result of Carney's speeches, so I'm not expecting much there. However, we do have these this average earnings index as well as employment numbers here. So if these numbers come out below expectations here, we're likely to see a negative impact on British pound. But if they do come out positive, that will have a positive impact, because that will show that the economy is resilient in spite of Brexit threat and all of that. So this will be a good sign for the pound. That's why this number here will be very important. We also have ZEW economic sentiment number for the euro, which is likely to have an impact on euro. Again, if it comes below expectations here, now that will be negative for the euro and vice versa. We have FOMC, MPC members speaking, FOMC members speaking. Any comments here that are negative, dovish comments calling for monetary policy easing or any of those kind of comments are likely to have negative impact on the US dollar. Now we have a federal budget balance here as well. So again, if it's negative here like this, that is likely to have a negative impact on the US dollar. So very important number to keep in mind. And then we also have CPI numbers for the quarter. Again, inflation numbers, important data here. So we need to keep an eye on that. So if the numbers are below expectations, then we're likely to see a drop in New Zealand dollar as well, or vice versa. So that's what we have coming up here for Tuesday. So let's go on to our charts. To start off with, we'll look at euro US dollar. For the euro here, we have seen price went up last week. And now we are into this important support and resistance at 1.1050 level here. So at this point, today we see a very, very small candle, and that's because we had a bank holiday for the US, and not much trading happened during those hours. At this point, this is neutral. So we'll have to see how prices react. What I would look for is a potential retest of the high here at 1.1060. If it stays below, then we're likely to see the price drop. And if it goes through this high, chances are very high that it can go all the way into 1.1100. So it's important to keep an eye on this particular support resistance level at 1.1060. As long as it stays below, I would look for price to drop, but right now bias is neutral, and we need to see how price reacts at this level. So neutral bias, again, if it stays below 1.1060, I'm looking for a drop, and in that case, the first target would be 1.10, and then I would look for it to come back down here towards 1.0930 level. But for now, bias is neutral for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, this one, we have a slight bearishness here for British pound. However, I expect British pound to be volatile here over the next 2 weeks. So do keep that in mind. So for today here, price did drop. However, it got stuck above the support resistance level. So same thing tomorrow, I would look for price to potentially do a retest of this low. And if it does not break below 1.2520, chances are it can go higher. And any kind of positive comments are likely to move this pair higher. So keep on top of the Brexit related news. For now, though, I'm looking for a bit of a drop towards 1.2520. And only if it goes through that level would I look for the next target of 1.240. Otherwise, price can just come into 1.2520 and then go higher from that. So be open to that possibility as well. And in that case, we're looking towards 1.28. For now, bias is to the downside. Aussie dollar here, bias is bearish for this one, looking for it to drop further. Now, we are currently into an important support resistance level here at 0.6750. So if price does not drop below this, then we could see price go higher. But so we just need to be cautious of that. For now, though, I am looking for price to, or I'm looking for a break. If it breaks through, then I will look for a pullback and a drop. Bias here is bearish. Now, we are also likely to see an impact from the monetary policy statement. If the monetary policy statement is neutral or bullish, this one could go up. So be mindful of that. For now, though, bias is bearish for Aussie dollar. First target is 0.6750. Second target is 0.6720. New Zealand dollar, we have a bearish engulfing candle here. But again, we are into the support level here where price has not been able to break this for several days here. So again, bias here is to the downside, but if it doesn't break below the support at 0.6280, price can go back up because price has been trading in this range for several days here. So it is range bound at the moment. But we have a nice bearish candle close, and only if the price grows through the support, I would be looking for price to drop further. So bias here is bearish for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, this one is neutral here as well. We do have a bullish candle close, so this one could go higher. So neutral to bullish is what I'm looking for here. Again, this one is also into our resistance level. So this is an important support resistance level here where price has turned around several times. So just be mindful of that. But bias is bullish, and this will be only if it breaks through the high. Then I would look for price to go higher towards 1.3260 and potentially 1.3300. For now, we have to see how it reacts to today's high. If it doesn't go through, then this one could drop further, and this would just act as a pullback for the next leg downwards. But for now, just it's bullish, and just keep that resistance level in mind. Okay, let's look at our silver here. We'll move on to commodities here. Silver is trading in a range at the moment. Price has just been stuck at this level. Market was waiting to see what happens with the US and China. We haven't really had any kind of conclusive, market hasn't had, or we haven't had any kind of conclusive anything, decision, I should say. There's been no agreement. There's been some comments in regards to this potential interim agreement or a mini agreement, but we'll have to see what comes out of it. For now, though, today's candle is bullish, so I will look for a move higher towards the top of the range. It is still range bound though, but within the range, I will look for a move higher. And if it doesn't go through the high, if it doesn't go through 18, then I'm looking for it to come back down. So bias here is bullish within the range and looking for 18. If it doesn't go through 18, then back down towards 17.20. So overall, this is range bound here. Gold here, gold is interesting as well. This is also trading in a range at the moment. This is where price has been, just going back and forth. We have a slightly bullish candle here, but this one is still, my bias here is neutral. And if it stays below today's high though, which is 1497, then it could drop further. But for now, my bias is neutral. I'll wait to see which direction this wants to move in. For now, neutral bias for gold. Oil here, this one's looking bearish. We have a bearish engulfing candle close, so I would look for price to drop further here. The target here, first target would be 52.80 and then 51.80. So bias is bearish for oil. Copper, copper, we have a bullish candle close. So I would look for a move higher towards 2.60, and that's an important support and resistance level. So my next move here that I'm anticipating is towards 2.60, but then it can drop from there. So keep that in mind. So bias is bullish here. 2.60 is the first target and 2.62 is the second target. But if it doesn't go through 2.60, I'm looking for a drop. Bitcoin still looking range bound here. It went to 8,800, but has dropped from there. At this point, bias is neutral. We're likely to go towards 77.40 here. So neutral bias for Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look at our equities here. In terms, so S&P 500, we are neutral here. Price had been very, very bullish here, and now it's just stalling. So what I'm looking for here is a retest of the high. And if price stays below the high, then I will look for a drop back towards 29.50 and then further down towards 29.40. So for now, neutral bias for S&P 500, but as long as it stays below 29.80, I will look for it to drop further. NASDAQ, same thing. We have neutral candle or indecision candle. So looking at either a retest of today's high or all the way the high from Friday here. As long as price stays below, I will look for it to drop here. So for now, bias is neutral, and looking for retest of 77.80 and then potentially 77.50 here. DAX, this one here is still looking bullish, but we are into resistance here. And price had struggled at this level previously, but there is this rejection. So it could go higher, but I'm looking for a retest of today's or Friday's high. If it stays below, then looking for this one to drop here as well. But bias is bullish for this one. This is just a caution because we are right into the resistance, but price can go into the next target. So 12,600 will be the target here. So bias is bullish, but the caution would be this 12,500. If it doesn't go through, it can drop. And then we have FTSE here. FTSE is, we had a big drop here in FTSE. Looks like it's trying to go higher here. Not the best candle today. So it looks like markets are all readjusting. So we just need to be patient here and see what direction we get. For now, though, this one looks like it didn't like the 72.50 and it's dropped from there. But we are also at lower. So we have a higher high and a higher low, which is not a good thing. So it could go in either direction. But for now, it is a red candle close. So I would look for price to come and test 71.40 and maybe then it could turn. But if it does not drop through today's low, if it holds above today's low, then chances are it could go higher because we have this inefficient move that can get filled here. So for now, bias is bearish, but if it doesn't break 71.90, I will look for a move higher. Last but not least here, Nikkei, we have a bearish candle close. Again, we are into the support level though. So I would look for price to drop towards 21,875. But if it doesn't go through that level, then chances are it could go higher. And in that case, the target would be 22,250. So actually, I would say it's just a neutral bias. We just need to see which way it goes. Once it breaks through this 21,875, then we can take it lower. For now, though, I'm just looking for price to trade kind of between these levels here. So neutral to bearish bias here for Nikkei. All right, so we will wrap it up here. And I will be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful trading day. Bye for now.